Welcome to Coaches Roundtable. I'm Ed Codi. Welcome our guest, Pittsburgh Post-Gazette sports writer and part of 93.7 The Fan, the Cook and Joe Show. Welcome, Joe Starkey. Joe, thanks for joining us. I guess
thanks for having me.
We have to talk about, of course, the Steelers. They're 1-2, losing to the Browns 27-19, that garbage touchdown at the end of the game. Joe, I want to start with this. Mike Tomlin said preseason he expects this defense to be dominant and great, and it's not been anything like that, given the injury with Watt. Last year, they gave up almost 146 yards a game rushing. The same problems come back again. They're giving up about 143 a game. What's your take on this defense? Let's start with that.
Well, first of all, thanks for having me on, Ed. I appreciate it. And then secondly, I feel like you have to have an offense that complements your defense. You can't have an offense going 3 and out all the time. And you can't have an offense that I think has the lowest time of possession for any Steelers team in recent memory. You're just not playing to your strength there, which should be your defense. I mean, it's not an excuse for them getting pounded by Cleveland, but they were on the field for 100 plays or so in the opener. Then they got worn down, I think, against New England. And, you have to have, at some point, your offense has to win you a game. I think the defense has gone from great in game 1 to good in game 2 to really bad in game 3. But wouldn't that have been a great time for the offense to step up and score 24 points in Cleveland and win you a game?
Yeah, the offense is at the bottom of all the important categories, yards per play. I think it's just a little over 5 yards. So, Joe, you bring up a good point. There are 2 problems there. 1, they can't run the ball. 2, the inability to stop the other team from running the ball. And in fourth quarters, they're getting hammered.
Yeah, it's just, here's the thing, Ed. It's no longer strange to see the Steelers get physically dominated. This might be a column idea that we're hashing out here unwittingly. It used to be that the Steelers exerted their physical dominance on both sides of the ball. Make no mistake, they did in game 1 defensively. That was like a historic whipping in that game that they gave the Bengals. That was old school Steeler football. But for the most part, they get physically dominated on both sides of the ball. And like my dad told me a long time ago, no matter how the game changes, becomes, a passing up front on both sides of the ball for the most part over the last several years. It's a strange thing to witness, really.
Yeah, I always refer back to what Lombardi said. You could make up all the plays you want in the final analysis. It comes down to blocking and tackling. And they are not executing in those areas. And of course, and I'm sure he deserves a lot of the blame. I'm not standing up for Matt Canada, but players have to make plays too down the field. Now, Deontay Johnson kind of threw Canada under the bus. I never heard Canada throw him under the bus for dropping passes.
Yeah, it seems like a lot of these guys on offense aren't real with the scheme, But I agree with you. When it's time to make a play, make a play. Deontay didn't get back to the line either later in the Browns game fast enough, or it would have been just 1 penalty, and that would have been interference in the end zone. They might have cashed in there and still had time to tie or win the game. Having said that, when people up front and receivers and seemingly even the quarterback is complaining about the scheme, maybe there is something very wrong with the scheme here. Maybe these guys are identifying that, hey, we've got an amateur play caller. I'm not saying that's necessarily the case, but man, they sure make it sound that way. And I was listening to Merrill Hodge on a podcast with Ben recently, basically saying just that Matt Canada is running an amateur offense.
Well, let me ask you about that. It's a great point. We've discussed it here on the show. He is Tomlin's 4th coordinator. And I've said Matt Canada is not doing anything unless it's approved of by Mike Tomlin. Yet Tomlin seems to get a pass here.
A pass from who?
I mean, in terms, I don't hear as much comment or criticism about the offense as related to Tomlin having a stamp on Canada as to what he's doing.
Well, there should be, I mean, I hear it. I think I hear it from fans. I hear it from, yeah, I don't necessarily agree that he gets a pass. I guess that's the best way I can put it. Just doing a radio show and listening to the callers and, interacting with other media types. I think he is held responsible. He's the one that hired the coordinator. He's the one that signed the quarterback. He's responsible for everything. I just got a couple of questions in my Post-Gazette mailbag asking just that. Why is Tomlin never held accountable? But the more times people ask that question, the more they are, it's almost become like, sorry about this truck right here. It's almost like the proverbial underrated player. And if enough people talk about him being underrated, he's not underrated anymore. I think people do actually hold Mike Tomlin accountable. Now, whether Art Rooney will at some point is another question.
Well, Joe, let's get to the other big issue. It's been going on ever since they drafted Kenny Pickett. Is he going to make any difference coming into this offense with way they're blocking and performing up front? And when do you think Tomlin might go with Pickett? He seemed to be last week. He has no interest in doing so. Comment after the Cleveland game.
Well, first, would he make any difference? I think he could. Yeah. I think he's more of an anticipatory thrower than Trubisky. I think he's got more of the it factor than Trubisky. That's a little hard to define. That tends to lift a team. I think he'd be more willing to scramble. I thought Trubisky was brought in here partially because he can run. He hasn't done hardly any of that. So I definitely think Pickett could potentially help. As to when, man, that's a great question. I would have thought that now with the 10-day break would be a natural time, but I don't think that's going to happen. And the next natural break would be halfway through the season on the bye week, would seemingly be the next natural time to do it if they're still sort of putzing along around 500 and Trubisky is still 29th in the league in passer rating and 32nd in yards per attempt like he is now. But then I wonder, does Tomlin, is he determined just to have Pickett sit and watch this season? So I think the odds might still be with not this year for Pickett.
Well, Joe, let's look around the AFC North. I know you said at the beginning of the year, you picked the Steelers to go 10-7. Baltimore's 2-1, Cleveland 2-1, Cincy 1-2. They lost 2 games, last second field goals, and then the Steelers 1-2. Are you sticking to your 10-7 prediction?
Actually, you might have heard a show before my official prediction, Ed, which was 8-1, and I almost got my tie on the opener in Cincy. So my official prediction was 8-1, and I feel very good about that right now. I think the Steelers will be 3-5 going into the break, and then the schedule softens a little bit in the second half. I think they're going to win games against Carolina and Vegas, and there's a couple other games that are very winnable. They'll win games in the division, and they'll probably have 7 wins going into the last weekend of the season, like so many other teams will within a game or two. And that's the way the NFL is designed. So yes, 8-1. I still like it.
Well, Joe, it's great having you on and getting your take on the Steelers. I wish we had more time to talk about Pitt. There's another whole story right there. What's going on with the Panthers? But hey, thanks for joining us, and I hope to have you back again soon sometime.
Thanks for having me, Ed. This was fun. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. Have a good day, Joe.
You too.
Bye. I'll be right back, Al and George. I am back, joined to my right by the Swami George Abrams, to my left the Tiger Albert Campman. Let's go to Spotlight. We are headed into the second half of the high school football season. Can you believe that? What a month. How fast.
Quick.
Top rushers, Jack Fennell, North Catholic, 170 yards and 3 TDs. Andrew Gavlik of North Allegheny, 153. From your neck of the woods, Elijah Palmer McCain, Elwood City, 147 yards. And you say he's just a sophomore?
Yeah,
Great.
They're
Things are looking up.
in the future, yes.
Evan Wright of Mars, 146. He's going to be going over 1,000 yards there pretty soon. Robert Janis of Riverside, 140. Jaron Brickner of Beaver Falls, 104. And Maddox Ellen of Slippery Rock High School, 103. Passing, Adrian Midgley of Hampton, 183. William Moko, Slippery Rock High School, 174. And a tough 22-21 loss to Grove City. That one hurts.
Yeah, ahead with under a minute left. They scored to go ahead under a minute.
Eric Kasparovich of Mars, 159 yards, 3 touchdowns. Jaron Brickner, Beaver Falls, 153 yards. That gives him 257 total for the game. Max Schnorr, Butler, 151 yards and 4 touchdowns. And Jason Sykett of North Catholic, 150 yards. Receiving, Trey Singleton, Beaver Falls, he caught 4 for just 143 yards.
It's a big win for Beaver Falls. And Shannon
Big
came
win.
in undefeated.
They're really, knocked
Beaver
off
Falls,
undefeated.
Beaver Falls
Shannon.
whooped them, yeah.
Eric Weeks of Hampton, 5 for 85 yards. Adam Rohrbar of Mars, 2 for 77. Ryan McClister of Butler, 2 for 67. Benny Hasselrick of Hampton, 10 for 66 yards. John Sabo, Slippery Rock High School, 6 for 63. Micah Rupp of Karn City, 3 for 59. Jerome Mullins of Rochester, 4 for 52. And Sam Schwartz of Slippery Rock High School, 5 for 47. And in college football, wide receiver Scott Frazier out of Knock for Grove City, he had 4 receptions for 78 yards. He has now 30 receptions on a season for Grove City. 42-7 win over St. Vincent, and their quarterback, Logan Fufer, he had 4 touchdowns, 2 run, 2 pass. Grove City now 3-1.
They have that night game every year that's free admission, and they just seem to cold cock whoever they play in that game.
Yeah, outside of the CMU game.
Yeah, oh yeah.
They've been pretty good on defense. That one game
Absolutely.
they gave up 40 points.
Played a good team, that's why.
Yeah, a real good team.
Carnegie Mellon, but they won it last year. You know what happened to them last year? They won the league, got COVID, and couldn't participate in the tournament.
I didn't remember that. Let's go to our high school football power ranking 6A. It's North Allegheny 5-0, followed by Seneca Valley 3-2, Butler 4-1. Seneca Valley with a big 24-6 win over Mount Lebanon. Now the last 2 games, 1 touchdown and only 9 points. They've got that defense straightened out. Butler's on a 3-game win streak, 37-20 over Erie. That means they qualify for District 10 playoffs if the courts will rule in their favor.
I talked to Coach Palco, by the way,
Yeah.
at a game last Saturday night, and he told me, listen, the team is good that nobody knows about is Seneca Valley.
He knew.
And we thought so the whole time.
We the biggest
Yes.
physical team we've seen this
Yeah,
year.
but they got off to a little bit of a slow start. Who knows why? But
Beat Penn Hills and then
Yeah,
had some defensive problems in the middle there, but it looks like they haven't straightened out. So they are at Butler this week. Can they keep the momentum going? They want to go into that last game of the year for North Allegheny. Could be for the conference championship. For Butler, 3 straight wins, but the 3 teams they beat combined 1-14. So Butler, they need a game to see where they are in this program.
they'll see where they are.
They're going to find out with Seneca Valley.
Yeah, that way they'll know. You know,
You
maybe
know.
we're ready to go back.
Actually, the next few games, then they have Westinghouse 5-0,
Yeah.
and then they have Erie McDowell,
Yeah,
and then
McDowell's
they
good.
have Erie Cathedral.
Butler seems
Prep.
like really good offensively.
Very good
And
offense. Big
that's
numbers.
that's what I want to see, is Seneca Valley's defense just a
Right.
mirage,
Good
Yeah.
point.
or because Butler will challenge them offensively.
Yes.
Yeah,
Let's go to
absolutely.
5A, Upper St. Clair at the top, 5-0. How about Hempfield? 5-0. The first time they've been 5-0 since 1972, when your cousin Bill Abraham was the coach.
Yeah, I talked to him that time up in the press box when they were up here. He was doing the color like he was well.
He
retired.
was so
But do
good,
you
Coach.
remember one night we had them at Seneca Valley in a playoff game?
Yes.
So they've been in the playoffs, but they haven't been very good offense.
Not this good.
No.
So now the big game this week, it'll be Gateway at Hempfield.
Yeah, and Gateway's just the opposite. They're good every year.
Yeah.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah, Bethel Park's number 3, Gateway 4, and Peters Township number 5. And 4A, Aliquippa, Central Valley, McKeesport, Highlands, and West Allegheny. West Allegheny gave the Quips all they could handle before the Quips won 19-16.
Yeah, remember, they're playing up gigantically. And so somewhere along the line, they're going to get challenged. And there's 2 more challenges coming, too.
Sure.
For the Quips.
And how about Mars, 4-1? They're at Highlands, 5-0.
That's a good game right
Be a
there.
very good game.
Absolutely.
North Catholic 3-2 at Armstrong, 4-1. And in 3A, it's Elizabeth Forward, Avonworth, East Allegheny, Bell Vernon, and Freeport. In 2A, still
Bell
Bell.
Vernon's the team to watch in that one, by the way.
Yeah, they're coming on. They played a tough schedule.
They're the team. Yes, they're the team to watch.
And in 2A, it's Still Valley, Westinghouse. You talk about a team that's loaded with talent. That quarterback for them is absolutely tremendous. He's one of the best around.
That's what they're saying.
And then Sarah Catholic, Washington, and Beaver Falls in there at number 5. And in 1A, it's Southside Beaver, Bishop Canevin, Olsh, Mapletown 5-0, and Rochester 3-1.
Catholic schools usually end up at the top in that single A. That's usually how it ends up. We always have a public school all the way to the playoffs, and then here they come.
Our stories of the week: the Browns 29, the Steelers 17. Cleveland run to daylight, 171 yards rushing. Nick Chubb 113 and Kareem Hunt 47. And they just chewed the Steelers up in the second half. Jacoby Brissett, man, he looked pretty good. Doesn't look like they need another quarterback. He was on the money with his throws. They even dropped some of them.
The old saying, they can run the ball.
It makes that passing so much better. And tight end David Njoku,
Big game.
nine receptions, and Amari Cooper 7 for 100 yards. Now the Steelers, Najee Harris, same old problem, guys. 15 carries, 56 yards. They're just having trouble. They did have 106 yards, but some of those yards come on their jet sweeps and a little trickery that they throw in there. Trubisky was 20 of 33 for 207 yards. And Deontay Johnson, 8 for 84, but he had a big draw. Now, it's interesting. Johnson kind of threw Matt Canada under the bus, as we can only do what the play's called. Canada's never thrown him under the bus for the passes he dropped, and it looked like he may have dropped a touchdown pass.
Yeah, he's got what you call a P-U-N-K in him. He does.
Yeah.
When the adversity hits, it comes out his true character. It's all it happens.
Point the finger at yourself.
All the time. It's
How about
Johnson all
point
the
the finger
way.
at yourself?
When everything's going good.
It's coming from the dude from Georgia.
When everything's going good.
I watched him the other day when he was open out and he didn't throw the
Pickens,
ball. You should see that, buddy.
He says he's open 90% of the
There's
time.
nothing worse than being
yeah.
all me, and that's
Yeah.
Johnson forever. He's been like that
But
forever.
they speaking up.
You know.
Yeah.
But when they say Johnson says, or Pickens, I'm open 90% of the
Every
time.
play, I'm open.
NFL.com says that's not true. I've watched the games. You see them open that much?
Never.
I don't,
that's
I don't see it
no,
happening.
I just told my son-in-law the other day.
Yeah.
Watch this game and watch the receivers, because they're all blaming Trubisky all the time. And I'm saying, tell me who he's going to throw the ball to. There's never anybody open. I mean, all I do is watch the game, thinking he has to stick that ball in the perfect place to get a reception.
Now, once again, Tomlin asked about possible change of quarterback. He's getting
He's
really
seeing the same thing
annoyed.
I'm seeing.
He's getting
That's why.
he's getting annoyed, and he said he no. He just come out and said no change.
You can't run the ball, and your receivers don't get open. I want to know what.
And you have to roll Trubisky out so he has a chance to throw.
'Cause
But
their
when
line's
you-
so bad.
But when you do that, you limited his vision to a third of the field.
Yeah, it's a really weak offense. That's all you can say. And without Watt, their defense hasn't been good either. Now, see,
Oh.
Watt is. No, you understand? Watt is the best defense player in football.
Right,
And
he
so
is.
when he's gone, it'd be like taking Mahomes
Yeah.
off of Kansas City and saying
What
they
you-
don't look the same.
What you lose for him is that pass rush that
yeah.
he gives you. But not
But they also have to.
But they slide guys
They have to
over.
slide guys
Yeah,
over, so now they
slide
can't
guys.
run either.
Doesn't
So
right.
it's-
Fifth league in league in
But
sacks.
when you say they can't run, still last year when he played, they gave up 146 yards a game rushing. Still, I mean, his primary asset.
Yeah, there's
is
no
that
doubt
he
about that.
disrupts the passing game.
But every game is they get turnovers when he plays. When he
Right.
doesn't play, they don't get
Now,
turnovers.
Tomlin said preseason he expected defense to be great and dominant. Well, last year, 146 yards a game rushing. This year, they're giving up almost 143. There's absolutely no difference. And Cam Hayward's a great player, but that poor guy's getting beat down. He's out in the field all the time.
Yeah, it's tough. His age too. He's older.
He's 33
He's older, yeah.
years old. So I don't know, guys. Where do they go from here? I watched Baltimore play. How good they looked offensively.
They're not very good. Pittsburgh.
Since he
I said
won
it from the beginning of the year. They're just not very good. I thought 7 wins, 6 wins if they get it. If they
Yeah.
get it.
So all the talk and the clamoring for Pickett to come in there at quarterback. I'm not sure.
Let's just put them in again.
I've said that all
Put
along.
them in. Let's just say they win 8 in a row, and I'll sit there and say, "Man, was I?" And we love them.
No, I think he's a really good player.
I do
and
too.
But he's not a bit difference maker on this team. Their defense is weak and their offense is weak.
But
Jeez.
but some in the Pittsburgh media, they're so anti-Trubisky. I heard one guy say he just stinks.
Fanboys.
And I'm going,
They're wrong. They don't
they're
know.
just saying the guy stinks. He's out there. When he does something wrong, he gets criticized. When someone drops a pass,
He still gets criticized.
he still gets criticized.
He
Well, next up for them, they have the Jets coming in after short, and people are saying like, "Oh,
beat the
they're going to
Jets.
win.
Oh, yeah.
They're just going to win." They play down to teams like this.
No,
Like
they're,
last year.
but they're down. Jets
Didn't
aren't bad. They're wrong.
Didn't the Jets beat them a couple years ago in New York?
This is an equal game. I don't see. I watch the Jets and Steelers every
Absolutely.
Sunday.
No.
I don't
Right.
see any difference between either one of them.
What a show Lamar Jackson put on for Baltimore against. He just looks fantastic.
Absolutely.
He's right now looking like an MVP candidate.
He's
way
the
he's
all-time.
playing.
He is the all-time scariest quarterback in regular season I've seen.
Yeah,
In
right.
the playoffs, they get ready for him. He just becomes another guy.
Yeah,
in the
1 and
playoffs.
3 in
They
the
won't let him run
playoffs.
in the playoffs. They said, "Wait a minute, you're gonna have to throw it now, and we'll see what you can do when you can throw it."
Cincy, that was a big win coming back for them against the Jets, 27-12. Now they play Miami this Thursday night. Miami, the big win over Buffalo. Man, speed both sides of the ball. But I like Cincy this Thursday. I just think
Yeah.
Miami left it all out on the field against
Well,
Buffalo.
that and the short week, they won't have any practice. They got to be there Wednesday.
And let me ask you, Josh Allen's great, but is he running? It's not that he's running, but it seems like he wants to challenge tacklers.
He's always
He
done
he
that.
needs to get smarter, don't you
Yeah,
think?
somebody's going out. Don't go out. Quarterbacks that challenge defenders, they're going out.
And the weird game of the week was Denver 11, San Francisco 10. Russell Wilson hit a home run in the bottom of the fourth quarter to win. That was the strangest NFL game as I've ever watched.
Let me say this. I always wondered why they wanted rid of Jimmy G. I no longer wonder.
Yeah, right.
He throws off his back foot. You're never successful in the pros.
No, you're not going to
When
do
you're
it.
throwing going backwards, you got to step into your throws. He always sees the pass rush. Now he's really good when they run the football. Well,
Yes.
most quarterbacks are.
Right.
But he's really good because now he can play action and throw the ball without running a game, and they don't have one right now. He's
Hey,
in trouble.
looking on up, Jacksonville 2-1 beat the Chargers 38-10. What a difference a good pro coach makes, Doug Peterson.
Absolutely.
They ran him out of Philadelphia.
And they ran him out after he won the Super Bowl. After he
I
won
know,
the
but I'm
Super
just
Bowl.
saying. I'll tell you what makes him good. His name's Lawrence.
Oh,
Do
yeah.
you understand? I'm telling you, he is that kind of player. He's a once in a generation player. Can run for first downs.
But
throw.
he's changed
But
the
he's
whole.
way better than
He's
Urban
changed the
Meyer.
whole
Oh yeah,
culture.
Urban
there.
Meyer was so bad.
The defense is decent.
Yeah,
That's a decent
I
defense
just
that they have.
was listening to the Vegas channel. They're favored to win the division.
Why wouldn't they be? I don't see
I
them,
mean,
but
that's
I'm looking at
how
that division.
Tennessee and the
Tennessee and the
Colts.
Alps are playing lousy.
Yeah.
Hey, college football. Number 9, Slippery Rock 30, Seton Hill 2.
No.
Quarterback Noah Grover, 294 yards. He had 2 touchdown passes, 1 rushing touchdown. In his first interception of the year, I put the whammy on him last week. Running back Chris Dior, 9 carries, 70 yards, and 6'5" receiver Jacob Odom. He caught 5 for 42 yards, and Cohen Russell 4 for 55. Now comes the big game this week at Indiana.
That's the one.
Indiana ranked number 12, the Rock number 9 at IUP 2:00.
I've been to one of those games.
You want to go this week?
And I've never seen before the game. I'm telling you, it was almost 3 fist fights.
Yeah.
Because
Oh,
the games are so intense between.
Oh,
those
this
two
game's
schools.
going to be. This
George,
game's going to be
George
good.
is the easiest going guy you'll ever meet. Not with Signetti.
Yeah, yeah. It was.
Those things go.
I-
I've seen that. The
I
Rotzi
did a
guys
game on the
fighting
radio.
out there.
IUP won 38-0 at IUP, and there were fights all over the field.
Yeah, I happened to be right there. And the other thing that stood out to me that day when I was on the track, and both sides linemen came by me.
How big?
How big they
Oh, they're big. The
are.
Rock's
They're
big.
so big. So is IUP.
IUP too.
Oh,
Hey, Pitt number 24, Pitt 45, Rhode Island Lambs 24, and Israel Abanikanda. He's the
What I say
ACC
last
back
week
of the week.
when you said they were playing Rhode Island.
Yeah.
I didn't know he'd have 4 tutties, but
4 touchdowns,
ran right through
177 yards rushing. Slovis back through for 189, and Devonshire, the 82-yard punt return. But let me ask you something. Pitt's leading 38-17, fourth quarter, 10 or 12 minutes ago. Why is Slovis and Abanikana still in the game?
Should not be.
He doesn't.
Yeah.
No.
I couldn't. I say, get these. Slovis just come back from an injury.
Yeah.
Get him out of there.
Yeah.
Abanikana's already carried 20 times.
I know.
And then they score. Pitt's up 45-24. 4 minutes to go. Narduzzi has an onside kick. To me, that's Bush League.
Yeah.
But that's what he lives
he
for.
is
Those bush
Bush
league.
League.
He lives for
Yeah.
that.
Why-
bush
why-
league.
why do that?
Like the night
He lives for
jumped-
that bush
Were you- okay, how many people were there Saturday?
They said 52,000.
Well, that's a nice crowd.
Yes.
There were so many empty
Okay,
seats.
so-
I think 52,000
Sold
tickets.
or whatever.
Well, you know what they do? You can't go to the West Virginia game unless you buy season tickets.
Oh, okay.
And
So
same
West-
thing with
yeah,
Notre Dame
okay.
and Penn
I
State.
I got you.
So that boosted a little
That reminds
bit.
me about because the Staley guy, the guy from San Diego, we don't like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Herbert just came off a.
Yeah.
They're down 38-10 with 3 minutes left in the game.
Yeah, I'm in there.
He has him in the game.
Stupid.
See,
See,
these
he's not
guys
that
don't-
smart. He's
Just
not that
stupid.
smart.
No, he tried to tell you he is not.
Yeah.
Now, you guys explain this to me. Pitt is at home against Georgia Tech. They fired Coach Collins
And the AD.
and the AD. Collins 10-28, 7-19 ACC. Georgia Tech is terrible. They give up 40 points a game. They're 1-3. The kickoff's 8:00. 8:00, and that's a 4-hour
Well, see,
game.
it's a national game. That's why. Yeah.
When you asked me why it's a
Yeah.
national game at
Yeah,
8:00,
I
but
know
a Georgia Tech
it is.
team is amazing to me. And as we finish, hey, Penn State, they're really looking good. 33-14 over Central Michigan. The other freshman running back, Katron Allen, he had 111 yards and 13 carries. They get 2 of the best freshman running backs in the country.
I wish he'd settle on one of them, but he won't do it. He plays 4 of them every game. I don't understand. He's always done that. I wish I knew why.
Yeah, next up for them, Northwestern, West Virginia at Texas, and Kansas 4-0. Nice
Yay,
to see
I like
that.
that.
Don't
I
have
like
someone
that.
board their uniforms. That's not kids.
Hey, that is it for us. We run out of time. We'll see you next week.
Participate in the October 7th Totathon Cash Bash by purchasing tickets to the in-person dinner. That's where I'll be drawing winning numbers for the cash drawings. Or you can once again gather your friends and family from any neighborhood, anywhere, and watch online. And anyone can purchase tickets to the basket raffle. Sponsorship of the events helps the Toto team receive the financial support needed to help keep these programs fully funded and accessible to those in need of empowerment, acceptance, and community. So let's all be like Mr. Rogers, look for the helpers, and support them as they help others. I look forward to seeing you in person or even online on October 7th as we come together and support this local nonprofit community center's mission to empower people to connect and thrive.